she just is who she is. But who is she? A broken identity leads down a path with no purpose, and a life without meaning is worthless. Still, she's quick to pass up the pain-displaced product purchase, instead opting for the mocha latte 16-hour shift work circus, and that gives her 8 hours to keep. And it goes 4 hours to cry herself to sleep, and the 4 hours that proceed to walk aimlessly through the street, she's looking for answers, hoping, praying, begging, pleading, wishing, gliding across the concrete floor against the neon hum of 24-hour liquor stores, and she goes, give me a sign. Something I can feel in my soul. Because right now, all I feel is alone. The streetlights give their answer, dim, flicker, and burn out. So in complete darkness, she's back to walking the streets, cursing the ground beneath her feet. Cursing the blacktop, and cursing the concrete, cursing the trees, cursing the very air she breathes, cursing the moon, and cursing up to the sky at God like why? Why is this my life? Why is this the path you've chosen for me to walk upon, God? Why? Why do I constantly go back and forth to feeling like I belong everywhere and nowhere? God, why? And God, if you have no answers to my questions, if you cannot let me know why this is my life, God, if you cannot tell me why this is my path, God, if you cannot answer why, then just let me die. That's when it happens. Drunk driving accident. A reckless driver swerves through the intersection into oncoming traffic. That's when it happens. A masculine hand grabs her arm and pulls backwards. A warm set of eyes and a warm smile saying that it'd be a shame if a pretty little thing like her had gotten hurt, and so once she had forgotten existed on this planet. And just as quickly as he arrives, he turns to leave, first asking her for the time. And as she gives it to him, she realizes that it's almost sunrise. So as the sun rises on her second chance at life, it dawns on her that freedom ain't free. But there's no amount of man-made money that can afford it. It's a gift you receive when you're willing to die for it, willing to live for it, willing to feel it in your chest with every breath until your death, and to help all of those lost upon their own quest. Each moment can be significant so long as you're willing to find the divine presence. She goes home. Makes her breakfast, sits down to eat. The food has never tasted so sweet. She said she wanted to be free.
Next up to the microphone. Oh, sorry, what's up? Sister Power up here. This young lady is a full-time spoken word artist, a motivational speaker, an author, a voiceover artist, a host and an MC. She has released 4 CDs. And 2 books. She's working on CD number 5 to be released in the spring/summer 2008, which means any minute now she's going to be dropping it. She also recently just did some incredible work and got to rock on the stage with Diana Ross's daughter. Y'all know. Everybody like, who? Yeah. Let me free you out. Her daughter. She's got the glass and the microphone. She's an incredible person, a wonderful soul. Period. So we'll let that speak for itself when she comes up here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together. Some people call her Rebecca Bonds. Tonight, we're just going to go ahead and call her by spiritual name, y'all. Give it up for Butterfly.
So beautiful, baby.
What's up, man?
If there's a cure for this, I don't want it. I don't want it. And if there's a remedy, see, I run from it. I run from it. I think about this all the time. Never let my mind, 'cause I love this. See, when it comes to poetry, I get more than the sweetest hangover. And just consider this. This particular Saturday night, one of the most impressive nights your ears have ever experienced. See, it's Saturday night and you could have been anywhere. There's quite a few hit-making movies that are out on the screen, or better yet, you could have just been walking the Bridge Walk. But you chose to be within the midst of the walls of the West End, experiencing the first annual Underground Poets Society. Poetry Conference. And just to let you know, we're just poets in the midst of a society filled with ills. And right now we're underground, but we're trying to rise above ground, reaching further out into the world, across from the U.S. to Asia, of course, the islands, and everywhere else on the continent. See, we're filled with so many things inside. And yes, when poets take this microphone, it's not a joke, it's something serious. Like that addiction that you have, and we all have, and we're all addicts. I just said it in the beginning of this song. See, there's no 12-step program that could ever save me from this. See, poetry is engraved in my spine like the McDonald's arch sign. I find myself wanting to write even when there's really no reason to write. It's just a feeling I get when a big old paper makes love to my fingertips as we dance on paper with or without minds. And I tell people all the time, I would be in prison right now if writing on paper napkins from Burger King or McDonald's was a crime. But it's okay, lock me up, because even those behind prison walls need inspiration too. See, we're here to not entertain, but edutain you. Because yes, you get the poets that can step to the microphone and give you that funny poem that make you laugh and juggle and tickle your funny bone. And yes, you have those poets that have that heavy stuff, like Tasha, who also allows for you as a poet to reminisce on the first time you caught those love Jones for this thing called poetry. And yes, you have those poets who come at you with a karate kick with their words, like Bruce Lee. And all the time we find ourselves having our audience members leave out the door, slipping into the skin of Curious George, wondering how us poets make these words do what they do. Because see, when it comes to poetry, we can get lyrically twisted sometimes, because we love to play on words, kind of like those poets who love to turn their words into acronyms. I'm pretty sure we wake Webster up on a daily basis. He's probably wondering when he could ever get a chance to rest on this other side of the world that we call life. But see, we gotta educate you. And I'm here to just let you know of 3 words to take out that door and live by on a daily, and know that dream is desired reality, eagerly awaiting manifestation. Faith is nothing but fighting against influences that hinder. And the word for haters is heavily acting towards exercising rights to succeed. Because in the process of trying to succeed, you're going to always have 1 or 2 or maybe a few souls trying to pull you down. See, it's not about crabs in the bucket. It's just about a world outside those doors that feel that everything has to always be competition or competitive. And that's not always the case. Because as an individual walking through life, we all know some type of chase, got some type of hustle going on. See, I respect the sister or the brother on the corner trying to sell that last bouquet of flowers for $5. But I know the hustle, so sometimes I tell them keep the change and give it to someone who's had a bad day that you see pull up to the traffic light with a gloomy look in their eye and say, here, this is for a passenger driving in a car or riding in a car that you'll never get to meet, but they knew that I would meet you soon. See, this thing called poetry, it's like therapy, because some of us can confess to the idea of at one time possibly thinking of committing suicide. I'm a victim, and I'll let you know that suicide is only sanity under the influence of conversation initiated by the devil's echoes. I've never really truly listened, because I know that there's a life out here that needs me, even if I feel like sometimes life doesn't need me, because life can get hard sometimes. Even Mama said life is only for the strong, and even the strong gets weak to where they're dancing with the ants and getting high five. See, when it comes to this thing called poetry, you're going to get that poet come to the mic with that revolutionary strong piece. That poet that wants to let you know how beautiful black is, only to show that even in 2008, black is still treated cold as ice. And you ain't even got a glass to pour some water over it to cool you down. See, poetry is therapy. And I get my drug each and every time I'm in the midst of another poet who has to tell the story of the experiences that they have had. So if there's a cure for this, I don't want it. Never let it off my mind, 'cause I love this.
Life is a lot of things, but right now, it's only one thing. Here's what I do know. I have a Bible in front of me that I'm not going to read from. I just did a tour through Florida for about a couple of weeks. I had never physically seen this cafe. Well, I had seen it physically face-to-face in like years, like 5-6 years before that. And someone was like, yo, Ed's coming through. He was like, cool, tell him to come down to my spot and I'll take care of him. He takes care of a little organization down here. He's part of it called Black on Black Rhyme. Y'all might have heard of that down here in South Florida. A little bit, a little something. He happens to just hold things down tight in Tampa, Florida, where it is hot as hell and the mosquitoes jack you for your money, much less your blood. They come with Band-Aids and shit. This cat came through. He's good people's. Always cool, a beard and a smile is how I know him. He's just a Heineken and a handshake kind of fella. He's cool in the fan. If I went fishing, I would go fishing with this man, which says a lot because I hate fishing. In addition to that, he's a real ass poet. He's a real human being. He's chill. He's always got a smile to offer you. He's going to offer you one if he comes up here now. And it's going to be very deceptive because right after that smile, he's going to punch you in the kidney with some dope ass poems. So coming up here to blaze a couple pieces for y'all, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The only thing I don't like about him is that he's taller than me, which makes him sexier than me, damn it. So put your hands together. Left and right hands. Right now, everybody for this piece, make some noise for live.
Man, they gave me some introduction time. How y'all doing? You did good with the tall part too.
Oh yes, you are sexy.
No, I'm here good. What'd she say?
Someone said it like that. You said you sexy.
I'm sexy. That's the yellow. That's good. Anybody who wears yellow, yellow is a sexy color. That's what that is.
She wasn't looking at the shirt.
I'm gonna do a poem, I promise, like real quick, but I have to say, man, I profoundly appreciate each and every one of y'all being here this evening, man. This is so important. And if you don't recognize and realize the importance of it right now, that's okay. But just know, trust me when I tell you, you are, right now, you are a significant part of history. I mean, this Underground Poets Society conference for poets that's happening right now is a historic thing. And, it's like that Freedom Rider shit in Alabama. I mean, y'all, one day y'all will be able to tell y'all children and, grandchildren if we're fortunate enough to be around it long, that y'all were a part of something like this. So, I mean, put your hands together for yourselves. Please know without a shadow of a doubt, I profoundly appreciate each and every one of y'all being here. I was still quite young when I became absolutely, positively certain I didn't want to be a virgin no more. Ignoring my mother's warnings and uninformed of what was in store for me once I opened that door, at age 12, I began my dangerous liaisons. And since then, in spite of the pain and suffering that constantly comes from completely giving yourself to someone just to end up with nothing, I've dangerously played on. Always looking for love. And now that I found love, sometimes I feel like I'm losing my mind. Reading her thoughts, trying to find out if she's being truthful or lying. Wondering if our relationship ain't nothing more than a noose for the blind, because sadly, if it is, she's playing herself. Hanging herself, and I hope she's not so naive and so dumb to believe that I'm sleeping and so sprung because I act like I don't know about all the fucked up stuff she does, but rather I hope she realizes I understand that severe emotional damage can make it tough for some sisters to grow up and check it. For the not grown, a relationship like ours is going to be a challenge to manage. So instead of responding with hasty reactions to whatever bullshit happens, I continue to show love, because although in her lifetime she's probably had half 100 men and had hundreds of times by the evil actions of our friends. The pain she's felt ain't shit compared to the anguish I've dealt with. Because, see, I can handle deception. I just learned my lessons. Make moves like OJ and take a stab at the next one. And I discovered that the next one is always at the next open mic, waiting and hoping that I burn the stage down so when it's over she can come up to me and tell me that my poems moved her so much that now it's cool to turn her face down and introduce her to my Kama Sutra, you know, them dangerous liaisons. But lately I've been running from them because for the first time in my life my aim these days is to be honest, to build something I and my queen can trust in and keep each promise. But I can understand her mistakes because despite my efforts I've been caught up in the embraces of goddesses with unbelievable bodies and beautiful faces and found my head in the wrong places like Samson with Delilah. But my passion and desire for the sister keeps me coming home to her, makes me want to be vulnerable for her. So with her I share my heart and show my scars, like I step on stage and show my art. And although I'm hard, I swear to God I promise that I would never do anything to keep us from growing apart. And although to fight the monsters, but past that monsters I remind this queen of the light she brings. And I ain't scared to get on my knees and use my tongue to praise, to put her up on the pedestal with the same fervor I place her, ever so tenderly at the edge of the bed and taste what her mama gave her. She's redefined my nature, and anyone who knew me before I met her could see the signs of my behavior. And although it's too good to be true, it's not so hard for me. Because although I know love wasn't for me, I've always known that one day would come when upon the beach of my shore would wash ashore the key that unlocks the door to me. Y'all want to hear like a funny poem or like an angry poem or a love poem? What y'all want to hear? Huh? Funny? Okay, all right, you want funny, clap your hands. If you want love, clap your hands. Screaming don't count as clapping. Screaming don't count as clapping. If you want other, clap your hands. Funny wins. I think this is funny, but it's true. It's true. Anybody here ever heard of MySpace?
Nah, what is MySpace?
Have you ever heard of MySpace? Clap your hands. There's 200 motherfuckers on MySpace, and I see people who ain't clapping. That don't make no sense up here. But yeah, MySpace.com is like a website when you can add friends. So if you don't know about it, check it out. It's MySpace.com. I'm on it too. It's a small world. And with over 200 million users, www.myspace.com makes the world a whole lot smaller. For family members, friends, and stalkers. For real. All them stalkers need to see is the little orange sign that says online now, and it's on. Find out your internet connection's been detected sooner than you expected because your IE window pops up. And you get flooded with several email alerts telling you that your inbox got numerous new messages. And it's always from somebody that you hate to reply to. Because you know as soon as you do, they're going to try to hold you hostage online from nighttime to the sky's blue. And mind you, I ain't no psychoanalyst, but I imagine if anybody thinks they can tell who somebody else is dating by investigating the first few faces on their MySpace page, they're absolutely, positively crazy. For real. This is the thing that you can tell who somebody's been with or who they're trying to build with based on their top friends list. Yet still I get this shit all the time. Somebody emailed me asking how come